Hello, podcast listeners. First up, thank you so much for listening to and supporting the podcast. We really, really appreciate it. We love doing it and we love getting the amazing comments in from all of you. Just a quick reminder that the Your Success book is out now on amazon.co.uk and amazon.com. It's currently available in both paperback and Kindle, and the audiobook will be coming out in 2019. Head to tiny.cc/yourbook to check it out. That's tiny.cc/yourbook to check it out. Now, on with the podcast.
Welcome to Your Success Podcast. We give you actionable insight and stories behind real-life success wherever you go. Here are your hosts, Angelos and Mo.
Here we are, Mark Ormrod. Thank you for joining us on Your Success Podcast.
Pleasure.
Second time you've been on now. So the last one was, early 2018?
That's right.
Mark was on before and we talked a little bit about your story and things like that, but you've been up to loads since then.
I have. I don't believe it was that long ago.
Yeah.
So that's got to be 12 months or... Yeah.
Because you were invited to a special someone's wedding not too long ago.
I was. That was part of 2018, yeah. We went to Harry and Meghan's wedding up in Windsor.
What was that like?
It was awesome, actually. They had a kind of special enclosure where lots of representatives from all of the charities that they're involved with would come and sit right outside the steps of the church. So where all the royal family came in the cars, we were literally no more than 10 metres away. So we got to see all that cool stuff and catch up with guys that I went through rehab with and just have a good time and experience a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Yeah.
You know, so... But yeah, it's been a crazy busy year with all sorts. I don't take enough time to sit and reflect on it, really. I'm always on to the next thing.
Well, probably the standout moment for me, Mark, was when I saw on the BBC news website, is that man jumps into pool, did not swim before, wins gold at the Invictus Games.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit of how that all happened? Because I thought that was just an amazing but funny story.
So what happens at the Invictus Games, it's like the Paralympics in that you get classifications based on your disability. So in my classification, being a triple amputee or worse, it's a very small group. So when we were swimming, I went to the heats the night before my race. So I don't have to have heats because there's only maybe 2 or 3 of us in the actual race. And there are a lot of Brits on the Australian in the Australian military, so on the Australian team. And last year in Canada, I made friends with all those guys. And so I bumped into him at the pool and I got chatting to one of the guys who is actually from Plymouth originally. I met with his parents last week who are from Saltash. And one of the athletes, Gary, who I raced against last year in, I think it was swimming and hand cycling, they told me that he was doing 4 or 5 swimming events, but one of them, which was the 50-metre breaststroke, he was the only athlete. And I still wasn't completely au fait with all the rules of these sports and everything. So I just assumed that because he's the only athlete, he'll jump in the pool, no matter how long it takes, he'll get a gold medal. Well, they told me that that wasn't the case, and that if no one else entered, then the race should be cancelled. So I was just like, well, that's a bit, wrong. I mean, he's trained for it. And I looked up and there's thousands of people sat there who are going to be there the next day. So I just said to the coach, look, if they'll let me, I'll jump in. I'll swim just to put a race on. These people have travelled from all over the world to see it. Gary's been training for it. So I turned up the next day and there was a 50-metre pool that ran this way, which everyone raced in. And then there was a barrier. And then behind the barrier, running the other way, was a 25-metre practice pool. So I turned up to there, the race, got all my legs and everything off, put my trunks on, jumped in the pool and tried to figure out how I was going to breaststroke because I'd never done it before. So initially I did this and just went round in a circle. So I thought that's not going to work for me at all. And then I just started kind of dragging myself under the water. And I asked one of the people beside, I said, I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
And I said, is this allowed? Would this be classed as a breaststroke? And they're like, yeah, you can do that. And then I remember, so that was 2 lengths, so it's 50 meters. And I remember watching other people when they do breaststroke, they always put their head under the water. And this person who I was speaking to had now gone. So I thought, well, maybe that's one of the rules. I have to learn how to put my head under the water. So I just started doing this weird thing, like when I bobbed and pulled my head under the water like this. And it kind of worked. So I thought I'll just do that. So the time came and we're on the blocks and even though I didn't really know what I was doing, my whole mentality is you're in this to win it. You know, it doesn't matter if you just survive your way through it. And so I got in and I started doing really well. And in front of you, above that practice pool, is a huge widescreen TV, and you can see yourself on it. All I could see was my white swimming cap and a yellow one, and I was quite far ahead. And then it got to the last quarter, and I don't know what happened to my arm. All this lactic acid built up on my forearm, my fingers cramped like this. I couldn't get a seal on my fingers. And I was just doing this under the water, and I wasn't really going anywhere. And when I swim, if I don't have air in my lungs now, I sink quite quickly. And I had swallowed a little bit of water and needed to cough, but I didn't have much air in my lungs, and I knew that if I coughed, I was going to sink. So I was literally, with this cramped hand and cramped forearm, dragging myself through the water, and I was drinking the water. As it was coming to my mouth, I was just going, and swallowing it, and I could see Gary's hat getting closer and closer and closer to me. And then I start panicking, and I'm trying to go, and I don't know what I was doing by the end, but what I do know is if it was 51 meters, I probably would have drowned. I was that, I had nothing in there, and it was 0.29 of a second between us.
Oh God.
So
and you got gold.
Yeah, I won the race by just over a quarter of a second.
Isn't it ironic that you volunteered to help this guy and yet you beat him? But if you look at it, you helped him get silver as well.
Well, he's not got a medal at all, right?
No, you won't get one.
Oh, right.
So if there's only 3 of you, they'll only give a gold and silver out.
Right.
If there's 2 of you, they'll only give a gold out.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I felt real bad after it, but
you're still friends, right?
He got a race,
Yeah, I
right?
think.
And he wouldn't have got a race.
And that's what I love. It's not the Paralympics.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not in it for that. It's all about, like I said, we've got a good friendship, and it was a bit of competition.
It's a great story as
the
well.
atmosphere and the crowd, that's an experience that me and him had, which I don't think anyone else could replicate because it's unique, to that situation. So it was cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And what's it like, the Invictus Games, for other people that haven't?
Because you did very well though, didn't you,
Yeah.
Mark? I mean, you won quite a few medals.
Yeah, I got 4 golds, 2 bronzes, and a silver.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and everyone has their own different experience. For me, it's very intense because I was going all the way to Australia. I thought, well, I don't just want to enter one event and, in my mind, waste the rest of my time there. So I competed. I had 1 day off, I think the Tuesday, but every other day I was competing. So the minute I finished a race, I'm automatically thinking about the next one. And then when I go back to my room in the evening, I can't relax because I'm now thinking about the next day's competition. And it was just like 6 days of pure
Did you
adrenaline.
have your family with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then were you seeing them every day as well, or did you need time to sort of focus?
So the athletes and the staff were all in the Olympic Village, and the families were 45 minutes away in central Sydney, which worked out nicely because it gave us time to get our heads in the game, to train, to support the team. But they then got to go to the zoo, the beach, the aquarium, and they weren't just stuck in this little bubble, just doing the same thing every day. So it worked out really good for all of us.
So Invictus Games, is that, forgive my ignorance, is it with Commonwealth countries, or can any country enter?
They can, but you have to be military or ex-military.
Okay.
That's what it's all about. It's for serving in retired military as a means to help aid their recovery from whatever it is they're dealing with, whether it's the loss of a limb or an illness or disease or post-traumatic stress, that kind of thing. There's no real limit on, they don't just say, you've got nothing missing, you can't compete. Everyone's got their own stuff to deal with, and they're all allowed to join, but you have to be serving or retired military from anywhere around the world.
And Prince Harry helped set that up?
Yeah, it was his idea. He went to America, I forget what year it was, but they have something called the Warrior Games, which had been running for quite a few years to that point. He saw that and he's like, we need this, for our country. So he came back and, being the man that he is, instantly just massive popularity. It grew so quickly. And now it's just, for my friends in those circles, it's like the highlight of their years now. They kind of aim their year around making the team and training for it and hooking back up with the other athletes and just experiencing that whole Invictus Games thing again.
So will you do another one? You'll be back next year?
Me? No, I'm done.
That's it.
Yeah, I've pretty much, I feel I've got what I wanted from it.
Tired.
I'm tired, yeah. And it's
retired.
Oh, retired. Tired. But it's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
You know, all the training camps are on weekends. They're not here in Plymouth. I think I did one in Plymouth in 2 years. You're in Manchester, Nottingham, London, you know, all over the place, giving up your weekends, traveling. So it's pretty exhausting. And I feel I've gotten what I needed from it. Yeah. So I think it's a bit selfish for me to just keep going forward just for the fun of it when someone else who might need a place more than me.
Let Gary take a medal.
Yeah. Give him a chance, mate.
But I tell you what, I will be going to the 2020 games, but as a spectator.
Yeah, nice.
So I want to enjoy it. You know, no stress, no pressure. Just have a beer in the stands.
Yeah. You can go to the zoo. Yeah. Go to the beach.
I can do all that stuff. Yeah.
So, where is the next one?
It's at The Hague.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So it's not too far to go either. So yeah, I'm just going to go and enjoy myself there. Make a bit of a lads trip out of it, and cause a bit of mayhem or whatever.
Yeah, brilliant. Be nice to be on the side of it. So the training for that, as you said, was pretty intense.
It is when you. So I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I work for the Royal Marines charity.
Yeah.
I've got 3 children, so I'm doing school runs. You know, I'm training for the games. I was training at 5 o'clock in the morning at home, and then sometimes in the evenings, maybe doing strength and conditioning stuff. For last year, I did a lot of CrossFit at Imperium over in Estover, and then the weekends. I think last year at least 2 weekends every month, I'm traveling around the country, hundreds of miles, to attend training camps.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Royal Marine charity that you help support?
Yeah, so I've been working with them and for them now for 8 years, nearly 9 years. It'll be 9 years in September. And it's just, I mean, it's a charity, so they do what charities do. They support their beneficiaries, the Royal Marines family, serving and retired Royal Marines. We're just there for the guys and their families when they need them. You know, whether that's in service or out of service, whether that's right now or 20 years down the line. You know, we have a very strong family ethos in the Royal Marines. You know, once a Marine, always a Marine is our motto, and we always like to look after our own. So it's something. It's a charity, but it's so intensely proud and fierce about looking after the guys. It's brilliant, and I love to be part of it.
And where does the sort of, especially for sort of injured personnel, where does the responsibility of the government to support those kind of people versus actually the charity work that you do that supports them?
Where's the
is it very clear? Yeah, where's the... Because obviously there's an obligation if someone's fought for the country.
Because we all know about America and they look after their veterans, whatever. Is there something similar here, or is our government a little bit less involved?
I would say in the 10-11 years since I've been injured, they've gotten a lot better. The government, they could do a lot more.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is I don't think most of these charities should exist because the government should pick up what they're doing. But thank God they do exist because people like myself and lots of my friends and colleagues, widows, children, families would be in a lot worse place than they are now if it wasn't for these charities existing, you know?
No, fair, that's a fair comment, yeah.
But you're doing that, you're training for Invictus, you're attending royal weddings, but you're also a property investor, you're also an author, you've got another book potentially in the pipeline being released soon. I mean, how do you fit it all in, Mark? I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about those things that you keep doing?
I think, and you guys know this anyway, I think it's all about being smart with your time. And, you know, I don't write the books myself. I have a ghostwriter. So, you know, I could go home after this evening, call up my ghostwriter for 2 hours, get some work done, and then I'm done. I'm not sat there typing away, doing all that and, you know, doing it what for me would be the hard way. You know, same as property investing, you know, you can, because of phones nowadays, you don't have to be driving around streets doing drive-bys looking for sale signs in people's gardens, knocking on doors trying to buy property. You just look on whatever app it is you prefer, find it, you can go contact the estate agents, put in offers, get your mortgage. I don't know what I'm telling you guys, you guys are the experts at it, but you just got to utilise all the technology that's available now. It's all about time management, delegation, and just doing it smart, you know? Yeah. So.
And even fitting in time to go on Lorraine.
Oh, Lorraine Kelly, yeah.
How was that?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
The downside of that was that was when we came back from Australia.
Yeah.
And after 24 and a half hours of traveling and not showering, I literally landed and they're like, Mark, can you come into the studio in London? And I'm like, guys, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I've got to drive 4.5 hours back to Plymouth now. So fortunately, we just rented a hotel room and did a kind of live stream thing. But then I went on another time with a friend of mine who was involved in my evacuation from Afghanistan when they were talking about Woman of the Year. I love all that stuff. I love doing that and this kind of stuff. I just love.
When you come back from something like the Invictus Games and there's a real buzz around stuff like that, do you have someone that's managing your time, or you've got all these individual people wanting to get an interview and do a TV show? How does that? Do you have to coordinate all that yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And it's good to a degree, but it can be quite stressful because you've got Facebook messages, Twitter messages, Instagram messages, several email addresses, phones, and people can get hold of you easily now. And all these requests come flooding in, and you kind of, for me personally, you don't want to be like, oh, I'll say yes to Lorraine, but that's not quite as big as Lorraine, so I won't do that, because that's just a dick move.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
No, it's fine, yeah.
Is it true, Mark, and you don't have to admit this on the podcast?
Uh-oh.
I always get worried when he starts on this line.
But did Lorraine, when she did a stock take on her mugs, did one of them disappear?
I do have a Lorraine mug. I'm very proud of it. It's a very nice mug. But she did. No, she gave a gift bag out, and it had. What did I have in it? I can't remember if I stole the mug or not.
That's not an admission, by the way.
That was
Any
not an
officers of the law are watching.
No,
that is.
It was
not
in the
an
gift
admission.
bag, right?
Yeah, it's in the gift bag. It fell into your bag, right?
This cool candle as well, which I still use.
Nice.
It's really
Scented
cool.
or?
Very scented. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
Probably Lorraine's musk.
Lorraine's smell in a candle.
So the last book was called Man Down.
Yes.
And have you got a working title for the new book, or a title, or you can keep it a surprise, or?
No, I will. Because, all right, let me put some context to this. So Man Down is a book about me and the Marines in Afghanistan getting blown up. It's called Man Down because the first thing that someone will say on the radio when they're reporting is Man Down, Man Down. And it is very much testosterone-fueled, alpha male, big, hairy, smelly war Marine, military stuff, blokey stuff. And it finishes when I got married back in May 2009. Now, the month after I was married, I flew out to America to meet another triple amputee because I felt I'd gone as far as I could in my rehab with physios and everyone that was able-bodied, and they got me to this decent level. But I knew that I had to learn from someone who lived it every day to go to the next level. So I flew out to America without wanting to spoil it, met this guy, ditched my wheelchair, 9th of June 2009, and that for me is the day that I mark as kind of my Independence Day, the day I left the wheelchair behind, don't own one, never used one since, and then my life took off, came back, left the Marines and became a civilian. So the second book is going to be called, working title, Man Up.
Nice.
In the way that you ditched the wheelchair, you didn't moan and complain about your situation, you manned up and got on with it. And it's going to be a lot more of the civilian side of me, the motivational side, and behind the scenes of what it took to overcome this, not just running around shooting people and having fun with my friends.
I love it. I think that's such a good title as well. So clever.
And the whole point behind it was, so just a quick story, going off track. When Man Down came out, I turned down the book signing tour because I couldn't write with my left hand. And if I tried to write, I had to concentrate on it. And if someone's trying to have a conversation with me, it really just fried my brain, and I thought I'm going to come across really rude and it's going to exhaust me. So I turned it all down. Now I can do that. So when Man Up comes out, hopefully I'll do the book signing tour, but I've made it so that it's pointless reading Man Up until you've read Man Down. So if you're going to buy it, you need to buy the first one as well.
Buy a bundle.
But also
Exactly.
you're turning the phrase man up on its head as well, which I like.
Yeah. So yeah, I can see it as a little twin pack in shops. It looked quite.
And to be fair, I did feel like just man up when I'd see you on social media in the gym at like 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh god,
This pillow feels so nice.
Yeah, I'm just like man up, So it's I think it's a really good title. I look forward to reading it. And you've also had the release of the No Limits documentary. Would you call it a documentary?
It is a documentary, yeah. It's an hour and a half long.
Yeah, so that's on YouTube and on your website as well.
And on the website, yeah.
Can you talk us through the process for that? 'Cause I think you might have been filming it when we last recorded with you. I think you were at the tail end of recording it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I would have been.
Yeah.
I would have been.
So how did you find that process?
Personally, I really enjoy it. You know, and if the opportunity comes to do more, I'll jump at it. I don't know. I just enjoy doing this kind of stuff and sharing my story and my experiences. And I had a great time doing it. It was some of it was hard.
Yeah.
But on the whole, very therapeutic. And the end result was phenomenal. It took a bit of a twist, actually, because the whole point of it, the idea was that it was like a fly-on-the-wall documentary of how does a guy with 3 limbs missing get through day to day. So, you know, like I just said, no wheelchair. Yeah. How does he do this? And how does he take his kids to bed and do this, you know, just normal day to day stuff, which for years people were asking me on social media, how do you do this? How do you do that? But then Invictus Games Canada came around and I just applied for it and I didn't expect to make the team, but I did. So we just took a completely different approach to it and we focused on that with the sport. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying now. Now I think there's an opportunity in my head to do another one, maybe another 2. Yeah. So I'm going to explore those avenues this year and see what we can do.
Amazing.
And tomorrow, Mark, you've got a photo shoot where you have to jump into a what?
A freezing cold river up on Dartmoor.
Brilliant. Yeah. And it's been snowing.
And it's we're recording this on the 30th of January and down here in Plymouth and Devon it is snowing, hailing,
and it's cold.
It's freezing cold.
And you're going to be out there in your knackers getting frozen solid.
I honestly thought when people did this, they just got into like a little warm jacuzzi in a studio and just green screened the steam coming off the water. And
what's that promo for?
So I've been doing a bit of work with Plymouth University. Yeah. Last year they were kind enough to bestow on me an honorary fellowship. Yeah. So I work closely with the media guys there, and we did a big article for their magazine. And the photographer wants to do the photo shoot tomorrow. Yeah. So
that's absolutely awesome.
If you see a guy crawling around Dartmoor with no legs on, freezing, begging for a cup of tea, just bring me something warm.
This ain't Lorraine.
Yeah. So last time, every time we speak to someone, we always ask them kind of what success means to them. Do you think what you class as success has changed over, in the last year? We should probably say like what you defined as success last time. We've got the book.
They can actually.
Grab the book.
If you
think about that.
If you buy Your Success book, the #1 best-selling book, might I add, Mark Ormrod is actually featured quite a lot in the book because you have an amazing story to tell.
So I'm going to find what you said last time about.
I can't remember what I said.
What this?
What the #1 best-selling Amazon book?
This book?
Wow!
If you haven't read it, you need to.
Second best book written by people in this room.
Man down.
Right, you guys. Here we go. Success for me is living life on your own terms, doing what you want to do and being happy doing it, having the job you want to have, making money you want, the way you want to make it, doing podcasts or YouTubing, whatever you want to do. Whatever you're passionate about, figure that out and make a success of it. So that's actually an amazing quote that you gave us for the Your Success book last year. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's changed at all, or do you think that's sort of pretty much how you feel about?
I don't think it's changed much.
Success? Yeah.
I don't think it's changed much. It is. I mean, if you can get up every day and do what you love and make money doing it, and you guys know it's hard along the way, but overall, predominantly you love it. Yeah. You know, nothing in life is easy, but if you can just get up every day and just be juiced and excited about doing what you're doing and earning living from it, and just kind of chuckle to yourself, thinking this is really my job.
Yeah.
You know,
that's exactly it. We were on cheeky little plug, BBC Radio Devon the other day on Saturday.
Who are you with?
Kerry.
Oh, I don't know.
She's a lovely girl.
She's amazing on Saturday.
Very fun.
And she was saying, do you guys are so positive, do you ever have down days and things like that? And we're like, literally every day is like a roller coaster of like, oh, amazing news, oh no, we're failing, oh, amazing. And so it's not even within a week or a month or a year that you have ups and downs. It's like hourly.
In the space of an hour, you can have some great news.
A phone call that can completely trash your day, and then half an hour later.
Like you did,
exactly. But you know, it's all like you said, Mark. It's all about how you deal with it. You know, you can either let it ruin your day, or your hour, whatever it is, or you can just say, right, okay, I've had some crap news, how am I going to overcome this problem? And it's all about overcoming problems, isn't it? And finding solutions to anything that comes along. And you've got to have that fortitude of mindset in order to do that.
Yeah, it keeps your brain active as well, all the challenges and difficulties, and none of it's impossible. And you just got to, jump on your phone now and you can see examples of thousands of people that have been through it before and overcome it and just figure out how they did it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's always really inspirational speaking to you and following you on social media.
And when your book comes out, Mark, we'd love to sit down with you again and talk about it.
Okay,
because
cool.
I think Man Up is going to be a worthy successor to Man Down. I'm curious what the third book title might be. Man Fly? Parachuter, Man Fly, jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows, for charity.
Who knows?
Yeah, definitely have you on again and talk about it. It'd be really good. But,
All right.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you guys, appreciate it. Thank you,
buddy.
You have been listening to Your Success Podcast. Click subscribe for more incredible content. More details can be found at www.yoursuccesspodcast.com.